friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to teach you and give you this free pattern. I'm going to give you this pattern for free. So this is the motif and here's the blanket. It's a very big blanket. It's in my book Marvelous Crochet Motifs, but I don't think it's going to be hard for you to find a copy of this book because it was printed several years ago, and it does have diagrams and full written instructions. But today I'm going to just teach it to you, and I'm going to put the pattern down in the description below for you because I feel like it. So this project was made out of Plymouth Encore worsted, but I'm just going to take some random colors of yarn, change it up a little bit, and it's going to grab your eye size hook. Let me get organized and I will start teaching it for you. Give you the pattern. So it's a bunch of squares. You know, I love squares, but I think this is it's just one of my favorite projects of all time. I don't know why. I think the colors are amazing. I love squares. And I've wanted to give away this pattern for a long time now. And today's the day. So I'm going to get my book situated and get us started. So with the first color, the middle color, I am going to grab, I guess I should get a white background so you can see a little bit better. I am going to chain 5 with an eye size hook, worsted weight yarns, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and join with a slip stitch in the first chain to form a ring. Okay, now we will chain 3, that counts as the first stitch, first double crochet, and 15 more double crochets in the ring to make a total of 16. So while I'm doing that, this is a great scrap buster yarn project. It's also a great way to use crochet to be a relaxing and valuable use of our time. Use up your stash, make a blanket that is worthy of, worthy of giving. I just love this blanket, and I think I've never used it, and I think maybe it's time to get it out for fall this year and treat myself to this blanket. So let's count how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I have 3 more to go for a total of 16. So this would be number 14. This is number 15. This is number 16. Of course, you can do the adjustable loop also if you want to be able to pull the tail tighter and make the hole tighter there in the middle. We're going to join with a slip stitch in the third chain, the top of the beginning double crochet, and fasten off. Another way to join that and make it a little bit more seamless is to cut the tail, pull the tail through, and then thread the tail here in the second stitch so that the tail becomes like a duplicate stitch, and then weave it back into the final stitch. And there you have a more invisible join. And that is round 1, easy peasy. Now working in the back loops only, we are going to take this color blue. No, I think I went the brighter blue. I'm changing my mind. The brighter blue. I am going to make a slip knot on my hook. Working in the back loops of the stitches, I'm going to join the next color with a single crochet in any double crochet. So in the back loop only, I am going to join with a single crochet. All of these rounds are worked on the right side. Single crochet in the same stitch, so there will be 2 of them in each stitch, 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way around in the back loop only. Theo the cat is on my back legs. Hey, buddy. So we'll see if he jumps up on the table and causes a commotion. He likes to do that. He's meowing, but poor little guy does not have a voice today, so he's meowing, but nothing is coming out. He doesn't have any other symptoms, so I think he's okay, but I am keeping an eye on him. So we're just continuing to place 2 single crochets in each of the double crochets, working in the back loop only. If we had 16 stitches on the first round and we're placing 2 stitches, we're increasing 2 stitches for every 1 stitch. We had 16 stitches, then round 2 we will have 32. So if you want to keep count, you can. But there should be 2 stitches in each double crochet all the way around, and we are going to fasten this electric blue off in just one moment and pick up color C, the 3rd color. So again, we can do that invisible join just like we did before, or we can do the traditional join of slip stitch in the 1st stitch. I do like the invisible join more, so I'm going to do that. Here's another opportunity to learn it. Pull the tail out, use your hook to skip the 1st stitch and weave it through the 2nd stitch, and then in through the final stitch. And that makes it more invisible. It also makes it easier to keep count, so that sometimes when you slip stitch and finish a round, it gets confusing, like where do you place the stitch, and you can accidentally add stitches and stuff. Okay, so round 3. Now, working through both loops and placing a slip knot on the hook, we're going to single crochet. We're going to join with a beginning cluster, and it's a beginning double crochet 3 cluster. So under special stitches, it'll tell you that we are, okay, we can just pull up a loop. That's what we'll do. Working through both loops, we're going to pull up a loop and chain 3 because it's a beginning cluster. Pull up a loop, chain 1, 2, 3. We're going to double crochet in the same stitch but not finish it. Double crochet in the same stitch but not finish it, then yarn over and pull through all the loops on the hook. That is the beginning cluster because we had to start with a chain 3. Now all the rest of the clusters are going to be different, but it's just the first one getting us started that looks like this. After the cluster, we're going to chain 2 and skip the next stitch. This is the next stitch right here. We're going to cluster in the next stitch, so yarn over, and we're going to place 3 almost finished double crochets in the same stitch, and then instead of finishing them off one by one, we're going to yarn over and pull through all of them at the same time. Then chain 2, skip the next stitch, skip this one here between my thumbs, and we will go all the way around the circle with this cluster skipping stitches. So the cluster, more slowly, is yarn over, insert the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on the hook like a double crochet, but we're not finishing it. We'll do that process 3 times because it's a 3 double crochet cluster. So we are placing 3 approximations or almost double crochets in the same stitch or space, and then yarning over and pulling through all the loops on the hook. Then chain 2 and skip 1. And we'll do this all the way around. I hope you are having a great day. I'm having trouble pulling, there it is, pulling it through, but it's all right. We got it. You got this. It's just yarn. You know what? Because that's where the join is, that's why it's a little tricky. So we're just going to make sure and look carefully. Then I'm going to join it carefully, and the tail is what was confusing my stitch. I was pulling the tail through on accident. So we'll just be careful not to do that. It does get a little trickier where the joins are, but we got this. All right, and skip 1 stitch. I am now working over the tails because it saves me time later. So cluster in this pattern is abbreviated CL. And it, in this case, is a single or a 3 double crochet cluster. And the beginning cluster is abbreviated in the special stitches of this pattern as BEG for beginning, -CL for cluster. And it is just used that once in this pattern, that very beginning cluster of the round. Chain 2, skip 1 stitch. Cluster in the next stitch. Cluster can mean lots of different things, so make sure you read the special stitches of each pattern that you try to make sure you understand what the author is saying, what a cluster is in the context of that pattern. A cluster is a decrease, however, because all of the feet, all of the inserting the hooks, all go in one stitch, it's not actually reducing the number of stitches. You still get one stitch per stitch. So one stitch, the one big fat stitch in one stitch, but then I am chaining 2, 1, 2, but only skipping 1. So the increases in this circular part of the motif comes from the chain 2s in between the clusters. So we're increasing there, skipping 1. So it may look like we are increasing on the cluster, but in fact, no. The cluster is just one cluster, and then 2 stitches, skipping 1 stitch. That's where the increase goes in. We need to increase regularly throughout the pattern so that the circle lays flat. We can't disperse the increases only on one side of the circle because then it will be not circular, but more egg shape, and that's okay if you're going for an egg shape. Okay, skipping, so we're almost there. I love clusters. Clusters are one of my favorite stitches. Clusters and post stitches. Did I only put 1? Nope, I got 2 chains in there. Okay, good. We're right on track. Okay, so at the end of this round, yarn over, don't forget to do the last chain 2, and then I'm going to just go ahead and slip stitch to finish. So here's where we are so far for round 1, 2, 3. I wasn't supposed to fasten off because this, the blue round is what I was excited to do, but we have a round of single crochets around here first. So let's go ahead and do those. So I will go ahead and just add new yarn again in the same color, no big deal. So we will place 2 single crochets in each chain 2 space, and 1 single crochet in a cluster, and we'll do this all the way around. So we are in fact not increasing stitches at this time. We are placing 1 single crochet in the cluster and 1, 2 in the chain 2 space. So we are just single crocheting all the way around essentially. Do you have some fun projects going? Are you beginning holiday gift making? As I film this, this is late September. I don't usually make too many projects for gifts because it's my work. So everything usually I have to make, or I make, is something that is going to be sent away. I might be able to get it back later. I may not, but when I give crochet gifts, it's usually, you know, when I receive the project back from it being photographed and published by a publisher. However, I did recently make a chemo cap for a dear friend of mine, and so there is a video on how to make that, with including a free pattern on how to make the base of the hat. And then I taught the technique of how to add some embellishing, some surface embellishment design onto that chemo cap. It's light green, and I'll try to remember to link it at the end. Okay. I'm afraid you're going to hear my stomach growl. I love how this hook matches the project, don't you? Even my nails don't look too bad with this project today. So we're finishing up with the last of the single crochets. The cluster, the little top of the cluster, that's where this single crochet goes. We can either slip stitch or we can do that invisible join again. And then pull that tail through that stitch and then finish it by weaving it through the last stitch of the round. Okay, now I can get on with the bright blue that I was so excited about. The bright blue, 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds. We're on round 5, working in back loops only. We are going to single crochet in each stitch around. So back loop only, single crochet, not increasing or decreasing. It's just one single crochet all the way around. So you can go ahead and look for this book on Amazon or wherever. I think I don't have any copies left. And I forget how many motifs it is. If it's 25 or something, I forget. 48 motifs. It's like 24 motifs, and then each one has like a half motif with it. But because this was a square and a square project, it didn't need a half motif for it. But that way you can design your own projects if you decide that it needs a half square for some reason. Like if you're making a garment and you need only like half of a square worth of distance left, you can make just a half a motif. Anyway, but it also incorporates hexagons, and so then there's half hexagons to fill in the negative space around the edge that's left when you put hexagons together. Anyway, I thought it was a fun book. I enjoyed making the book, but I don't know that it's easily found in the world anymore. I don't even remember when I think this is like a 2013 book. I'm not sure when it came out. It was a while ago. Definitely after my first book in 2011, and definitely between my first book in 2011 and my most recent book in 2019. So somewhere between 2011 and 2019 is when this book, Marvelous Crochet Motifs, came out. All right. So you can also find me on Instagram, the Ellen Gormley, and my website, ellengormley.com. Please, while I'm stitching, if you like this video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you aren't already subscribed, and hit the bell notifications button so that you don't miss anything. I am doing more and more free patterns lately. It seems to be a trend with me. And this pattern, the text will be written down below. I don't have a way of inserting the symbol diagram, but at least the text will be there. And of course, you've got a tutorial. All right, so invisible join. So it was just one single crochet for one, so the same number of stitches in the previous round, 48. And so when the stitch count does not change from round to round, sometimes the stitch count is not even written because why? It's exactly the same. Okay, so round 6. Round 6 is the heathered kind of plum color here. And should I go back to, I think I'll go back to the magenta for this particular interpretation of this design. So working in the back loops only, join with single crochet. Okay, so we're going to back loop only, single crochet in the first one, then single crochet in each of the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then in the next, we're going to place 2 single crochets in the next stitch, single crochet in each of the next 5. So we are increasing here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we are increasing, and we are going to get up to 56 stitches, single crochet, 2 in the next stitch, and then single crochet in each of the next 5. 1, 2. So we're increasing by 8. So there was the last increase, 1, 2 in one stitch. So then I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is time to do it again. 2 single crochets in the next stitch. So this is the method for increasing this particular pattern. Five, 1, 2. Okay, so we are finishing up this round and we are not fastening off. I'm going to go ahead and join with a slip stitch. We should have 56 stitches. Hopefully we do. I don't feel like counting at the moment. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? You could stop after the bright blue and it could be a coaster. You can make a set of coasters. It's also the very gorgeous beginning of a hat. If you wanted to stop increasing now and just work even, you would have a really gorgeous hat. And maybe that is what I will do when I'm done with this demonstration today. So round 7, working through both loops, chain 1, 2, 3, double crochet in the same stitch, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Then not in the same stitch, but in the next stitch, we're placing 2 double crochets. So the corner takes up 2 stitches. It's 2 double crochets, chain 3, 2 double crochets in the next stitch. It takes up 2 stitches. Then we're going to half double crochet in the next stitch and single crochet in the next 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then we will half double crochet and then do the corner again, which is 2 double crochets, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. In the next stitch, place 2 double crochets. So the corner uses up 2 stitches. And then we will continue the pattern with 1 half double crochet on the other side of the corner and 10 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1/2 double crochet, corner, which is 2 double crochets, and you can say it with me, chain 3, 2 double crochets where? In the next stitch, not the same one. And as we come, we're finishing with the 10 single crochets. And we need to finish up with the half double crochet. Yep. And then we will slip stitch in the top of the beginning chain 3. Excellent. So here's the motif. Yay. And this one is called the blanket square. And that is how we make it. I hope you enjoy this free pattern that I'm giving to you. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to rip up this magenta and I'm going to make this the top of a hat. And maybe I'll make another video on how I finished it into a hat. But I'm really just loving it. And so stay tuned. So subscribe and like and hit the notifications bell so that you don't miss what I end up doing with this gorgeous motif as I transform it into a hat. Please like and subscribe and click up here for the chemo cap pattern. Thank you so much. Bye.